I never thought a quiet night could feel this heavy. I'd stayed late at work again, trying to outrun the thoughts that kept chewing at me since my mother passed away 2 months ago. Grief has this strange echo, like you're walking through your own life, but nothing feels connected anymore. I've been drifting like that, barely sleeping, barely eating, just moving. The only real break in the silence was the low hum of the building's old ventilation system, a constant reminder that everything around me was functioning, while I wasn't. When I finally stepped into the underground parking lot, the air felt colder than usual, almost damp. My footsteps sounded too loud, like the whole place was listening. I pressed my keys in my palm and told myself I was fine, but that fragile calm felt like it could crack with the slightest touch. I walked my usual path toward my car, the fluorescent lights flickering overhead in that stuttering way they always did. Nothing new, just another late night, another empty garage echoing back my footsteps. My routine was predictable. Finish work, drag myself to the parking lot, drive home to my silent apartment. I'd done it 100 times. But that night, the quiet had weight. The air tasted metallic, as if the concrete itself was sweating. I heard a soft scrape somewhere behind me, like a shoe dragging, but convinced myself it came from the pipes. I didn't look back. I shoved my hands into my pockets, pretending everything was normal, but the unease kept tugging at me. As I passed level B3's far column, I noticed one thing out of place. A shadow standing where no car, no person, no object should have been. I blinked, and it was gone. I slowed down, trying to shake off the chill crawling up my spine. The parking lot had those long stretches of silence broken only by buzzing lights and distant water drips. But when I reached my car door, something made me stop. My side mirror had fingerprints, smeared long, almost claw-like streaks, like someone had dragged their whole hand across it. I wiped one with my thumb. It left a faint, sticky residue. I whispered, "What the hell?" Then I heard it again, dragging footsteps, this time closer, measured, slow, like someone pacing without hurry. I turned around, expecting to see a late worker or security guard. Nothing, just an empty row of parked cars and low ceilings breathing out cold air. When the footsteps repeated, same pace, same distance, I felt my chest tighten. It wasn't echo. It wasn't the building. Something was moving, following the same rhythm I stood in. I started walking, faster this time. Every step I took echoed back at me, but not with my timing. I'd stepped twice, then something else stepped once. I told myself I was being paranoid, that grief was messing with my senses, but the feeling of eyes on my back was so sharp I could almost pinpoint where they were. The lights above me flickered again, 3 rapid blinks, then steadied. I caught a shape at the far end of the lot, a silhouette, tall, too still. My throat tightened. I blinked hard, but the shape didn't vanish this time. It only leaned slightly to the side, as though studying me from an impossible distance. My hand started shaking, keys clattering. I whispered to myself, "Don't run, don't panic." But the parking lot felt smaller, like the walls were closing in, and that thing wasn't pretending anymore. It was watching. My breath froze. Maybe it was a maintenance worker. Maybe the shadows were playing tricks on me. But then it stepped into the light. My breath froze. It looked like a man I used to know. Evan, a coworker who died last year in a car accident. Same face, same build, except wrong, twisted. His skin hung too loosely, like it didn't belong to the bones underneath. His smile stretched too wide, curling unnaturally toward his ears. "You're late," he whispered, though his lips barely moved. I stumbled back. "Evan?" He tilted his head, cracking sounds echoing from his neck. "You left me," he said, voice layered, his and something deeper beneath it. My reality snapped. Evan was gone, dead, cremated, yet here he was, stepping toward me with jerky, predatory movements. My knees weakened. Betrayal and terror crashed into me at once. Nothing made sense anymore. I ran for the stairwell, heart slamming against my ribs, but when I grabbed the handle, it wouldn't budge. Locked. I yanked it again. Nothing. Something scraped the concrete behind me. I turned. Evan's crooked shape was closing the distance in those inhuman, gliding steps. I bolted toward the elevator. My fingers trembled as I jabbed the button. The doors stayed closed. "Come back," he whispered. His voice echoed from too many directions at once. I turned and sprinted down another aisle of cars, trying door handles. Locked, locked, locked. My breathing turned ragged. Lights above me shut off one by one behind him, swallowing the garage in chunks of darkness. His footsteps, slow, deliberate, spread through the concrete. He wasn't rushing. He didn't need to. He knew I had nowhere left to go. Panic surged like ice through my veins. I stumbled behind a concrete pillar, pressing my shaking palms over my mouth to muffle my breathing. My thoughts fractured. Was I hallucinating? Was grief finally breaking me apart? I squeezed my eyes shut, begging myself to wake up, to snap out of it. But the soft scraping, his dragging feet kept circling me. "You always walk ahead, never look back." His voice twisted through the air like something liquid. I pressed my forehead to the cold concrete, tears stinging my eyes. "Please, stop," I whispered. My chest felt squeezed inward, as though the garage itself was crushing me. Every sound grew louder, my pulse, the hum of dying lights, his breath. I couldn't tell what was real anymore. I couldn't trust my senses. My own mind felt like a cage tightening around me. I wasn't just trapped in the parking lot. I was trapped inside myself. The footsteps stopped. Silence expanded, thick and suffocating. I slowly peeked around the pillar and saw something worse than him walking. He was standing right beside my car, staring at the driver's seat. That's when I noticed the awful truth. My car door was open. It hadn't been before. Someone had opened it. Someone had been inside. My stomach twisted. Maybe he had been waiting for me long before I noticed the fingerprints. Maybe he had been inside, sitting quietly, breathing in the dark. "I didn't die alone," he whispered, "but you will." The truth hit me like a blow. There was no exit, no help, no one coming down here at this hour. The garage felt like a sealed tomb, and I realized too late he had planned this moment long before I stepped into the shadows. He moved faster than before, rushing me with a broken, staggering sprint that didn't look human. I ran toward the far corner of the lot, breath tearing out of me. He slammed into me from behind, knocking me across the concrete. Pain shot up my spine. I screamed, crawling, nails scraping the floor. His hand, cold, too cold, grabbed my ankle and yanked me back. I kicked wildly, my heel smashing into something soft. He laughed, a strangled, wet sound. "Stay," he hissed. I crawled under a car, chest burning, but he crouched down, face lowering upside down to mine. Skin hung inches from my eyes. "You never came to my funeral," he whispered. His hands shot at me, dragging me out by my coat. I clawed at the concrete until my fingers burned. My voice broke into raw, panicked cries. He pulled me into the darkest corner of the garage, where the lights never reached. I fought until my body gave out, until my voice cracked into sobs. "You won't leave me again," he murmured. His face shifted, features melting, reshaping, until he looked less human and more like the thing wearing his memory as a mask. My body went numb, my vision blurred. The last thing I felt was the cold press of his forehead against mine. "Now you're mine," he whispered. everything went silent. When the lights finally flickered on the next morning, my car was still parked in the same spot, door wide open, keys on the ground, and somewhere in the shadows of level B3, I'm still there, still breathing, still trapped, still whispering for help no one will ever hear.